Okay, well, hi everybody. This is Russ, and I'm going to do a little lecture about copyright law and as it relates to the creative work that you're doing. And probably the most important thing to keep in mind is, you're doing creative work now, and you're part of a creative group of people, a creative community that, really it's kind of built partly on not stealing each other's work. So that's really, really important. I'm going to go here to course topics, and I'm going to, there we go. Sorry, the interface is moving slowly as I record here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to course topics. Sorry, it's just being kind of tricky here today. And go back to the main menu. I'll close some things there, and that'll help this along. Okay, I'm going back to course topics. I'm going to go to setting project requirements and copyright rules. Okay. And let's go to the presentation. So that's how you find the presentation. Now, if you want to study for the Adobe Illustrator certification, great. You don't have to do that. It's not a requirement of the course, but it's something you may want to do. So I'm going to go ahead, click here to access the presentation. Okay. And what is a copyright? Okay, well, it's a legal term that gives a creator of an original work the exclusive right to use it. Okay, so you don't have to send anything to the Copyright Office of the United States in order to have a copyright on something. It's basically something that you have legally when you create something. Okay, copyrights consist of three different things: the copyright symbol, and the date, and your name. Okay. So you can't just change something. You can't just create something which is a derivative work, which means it's based on something else, and you can't distribute it without permission from the copyright holder. Okay, works for hire. Let's say you do something such as design a logo for a client. They are the copyright holder, okay, depending on your relationship with them and what you've agreed upon. Also, copyrights last for a very long time. The creator's lifetime plus 70 years, okay, so they go for a very long time. So probably the most important thing is, when in doubt, ask permission or don't use it. Okay, so what are exceptions to the rule? Well, works by the U.S. government, and very, very familiar things might not get copyrights. Let's say, such as the symbol for a man on a bathroom door. Everybody knows that symbol. It's worldwide, and so you can also use things that copyrights have expired on. Okay, so things like Beethoven. Any Beethoven symphony, no longer in the copyright, under copyright law. It's in the public domain. Okay, so fair use can be tricky, and I'm not a lawyer, but I will tell you that here, according to the course, you can use a graphic for educational purposes as long as you're not republishing, redistributing it, and so on and so forth. I really encourage you to get in the habit of finding sources and clip art and stock photos and so forth, which you can license for pennies. In some cases, if it's a wonderful photo and you must have it, it'll cost $5 to $10 perhaps. So it's the sort of thing that it's easy to get. And it's easy to get legally, and if you ask permission or so forth, you might actually even make a friend. So keep that in mind, all right? Graphics and images from blogs and websites. You can't just go out on the web and grab images, all right? I want you to keep that in mind. If you find something you really, really like, go ask, all right? It's just that simple, all right? Like I said, there's royalty-free image banks, and also there's Creative Commons. You may have seen this as part of Wikipedia. Wikipedia has this, and it'll say exactly what the license is, okay? It tells you how you can copy it, adapt it, distribute it, use it for commercial purposes, and so on and so forth, okay? And so that's something, check on it, and if in doubt, just contact them, okay? You can see, for example, this is a really nice photo here with the doors, or with the blue and the yellow and so on and so forth. Well, if you'd want to use it, you know, let's just talk about this photo for a minute. Whoever the photographer was, if they're not native to that town, they had to go there. They had to find that. They had to compose it. They had to wait until nobody was in front of it. A lot of work went into just making this one simple photo. It's a nice exposure. It's pretty. It has an interesting layout. It has some interesting suggestion to it. So keep that in mind as you use stuff. People worked hard on this, and it's not right to just steal it. Okay? So how do you find the copyright? Well, you can't usually tell if you're just looking at something. So Adobe has a thing called Bridge. Okay? And Bridge is a file system for creative work, and I don't really use it for that because I like Windows. Windows is a file system, as is the Mac operating system. They're file systems. So, but what you can do is change the metadata in a document. Or you know, in a layout or a photo or an illustration and so forth. Okay, and what it'll have is you know, there is information here about how to do that, and it'll have the copyright notice and so forth, okay? You want to make sure that if you are going to use something, try to check the copyright in Bridge so that you know how you're using it and what's cool to use, what's not cool to use, okay? And also, when in doubt, just don't use it. That's not cool. And, you know, I want you to feel this part of the creative community, you know, that respects each other's work and cherishes each other's work. And maybe that sounds hokey, but that's kind of the truth, you know. And I wouldn't want somebody just absconding with the cool things that you're going to do in this class. So like I said, not a lawyer. You know, when in doubt, go ask permission and use Adobe Bridge to check it out, okay?